Joel Salatin at PolyFace Farms next on Meet the Farmer TV.
Meet the Farmer TV is made possible by Planet Earth Diversified, Melly Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design. Culpeper's Channel 21, helping to preserve the agricultural history of Virginia, and Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture.
Today on Meet the Farmer TV, we're going to check out PolyFace Farm, the famous farm for mobile chicken eggmobiles, and we're going to see the new design, Eggmobile version 2. Hello, I'm Michael Clark, your host for Meet the Farmer TV. Today, a multi-generational effort to heal land here in Central Virginia at PolyFace Farm. We've got pastured rabbits?
Yes, yes. The amazing thing is here that our son Daniel, who really should be telling about this, started these rabbits as a 4-H project when he was 8 years old. He's now 28. So he's been 20 years in line breeding, developing a line-bred rabbit. What that means is it's close breeding on purpose to get what are called prepotent genetics. And when he started when he was 8, he went through 5 years averaging 50% mortality as the rabbits became acclimated to forage. So it took several years to actually breed out the poor genetics that could only handle hot feed and hothouse and medications. And so this is now 20 years into a very carefully selected genetic base. Yeah, and
they're pulling it right in there, like I see that new grass.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, I can give it so what we do is we just move it every day, and the rabbit, of course, the slats on the bottom keep the rabbits from being able to dig out, and the rabbits just ride the slats onto the next spot, okay? Very, very simple. This can be done in a backyard by anybody, and then the rabbits can just eat as the forage comes back up through. They can eat what they want, and this cuts their feed consumption by as much as 75%, and makes a rabbit. Well, you can see how healthy they are. This is all one litter here. This is one litter from one doe, and it may be the only sizable commercial rabbit flock in the country that's been genetically selected for forage base. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Now, one thing that's really impressive about all of your animals is they all seem more like pets. They're not afraid of you.
Right.
They recognize you, and they really seem more like they be somebody's pet dog or something.
Yeah. Well, we think that creating a happy animal is the secret to a true happy meal, not a pseudo happy meal. But you know, there's no happiness in that meal before the trinket that you got in it at the big the big arches.
Right. Yeah.
But there's happiness here all the way through to the plate, and we think that's part of what creates a happy culture and happy people is the way we have happy animals.
Well, show us some more happy animals.
Absolutely. Glad to do it.
Do you have problems with predators or wild
We have a guard
animals?
dog. We have a guard dog. You'll meet him in a little bit. And we move him around to hot spots. And the guard dog actually has a kind of halo effect, because the wildlife doesn't realize when he's gone, when he's there.
Right.
And so we can actually, an effective guard dog effectively can really only cover about 20 acres. They just can't physically get around. But we can cover a lot more than that if we move him around. Now this is a brand new design that we've just finished, and we're real excited about it. It's working beautifully. We've moved it several times, and so these are layers. And,
so what's new about the design? The fencing, the building, all of it?
We had been using hoop structures. The problem is hoop structures are light, they're movable, but but it's hard. They're not strong enough to get a lot of vertical space inside. And so what we were trying to do was to get a lot more birds under one roof area in a stackable to reduce the size of the shelter.
Okay.
To get a kind of a stack, use more vertical space. Kind of like a trellis for cucumbers.
Right.
Same idea as a trellis.
You want to take us in and actually
Absolutely, yeah. Let's turn the spark off here. This is the Energizer. This is the high tech. You know, this is see the little filaments. There are little filaments running through here. This is space age stuff. It's only been around for about 20 years, and so the white ones conduct power through these little filaments, and then the black ones, the verticals, are dead.
Okay.
And the Energizer's right here. And you know what's fascinating is that it took, here's the Energizer, just a 12-volt battery, and here's the ground rod. It took computer microchip space-age technology to be able to shorten the spark length down with a high enough pressure behind the short impulse so that you didn't get enough resistance to melt the polyethylene.
Right, yeah.
So, you know, this is the confluence of, what's neat about this is that for the first time in human civilization, we can have huge commercial flocks of poultry on pasture, controlled to keep them in, to keep the predators out, in a totally portable pasture system that's more chicken friendly, hygienic, and ecologically friendly than a backyard flock 50 years ago on an American homestead. That's really cool.
Oh, now we got some automatic water fill. I've seen so many times you carrying buckets, those things going, man, how do they, it kills me carrying buckets around. So you're actually going to come in and slide this thing on these pipe rails.
Yeah, we can go around to the other end. I've got a toolbar on the other end that we tow it with in order to not pigeon toe the ends in. But yeah, the whole thing is on these skids. It's called a scissor truss. It's called a scissor truss. And so there's a lot of airspace in it, but all the roosts, you can see the chickens are up on the roost, so you get a tremendous amount of space, use of space, and the whole structure just pulls real easy, about like a loaded hay wagon. And then of course the nest boxes are up here.
And they've got plenty of shade and air circulation.
Plenty of shade, yeah. We can walk around the other end. We've got a ladder over there.
Now you have short people that walk down the middle to collect the eggs?
Oh, you can walk down. I'll show you. You jump up in there, you'll see how tall it is. It's a lot taller than you think. See, here's the toolbar.
Oh yeah, okay.
So see, then we have a chain. Then we can just hit the tractor up. We just hook the tractor up right here and pull it. But the toolbar keeps this from pigeon toeing the ends in. But yeah, you can just. Easy, ladies. You can just go right up the ladder, and there's pretty good headroom in here.
Oh yeah.
And now these are just starting to lay. There's 1,200. There's 1,200 chickens here. There's plenty of shelter, plenty of nest boxes, and
this really has better air circulation than the low coops.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Feel how cool it is?
Yeah. And even with a metal roof and the hot sun.
Yeah.
When do you need to, like in the wintertime, when it would be too cold?
Okay, in the wintertime, they go into those big hoop houses.
Okay.
And, they get cold at night, but they just snuggle together and sleep. And in the daytime, they're perfectly warm, kind of like a cold bedroom. And
do you think about, like, enclosing the ends on these for wintertime? Or?
No, because it just gets too hard to... It just gets too hard to keep water from freezing.
Right.
If you have a snow, we use the hoop houses.
So this is really the summer vacation, the summer cottage.
Oh yeah, this is spring, summer, fall, and then for about 100 days they're in the hoop houses.
Okay.
And then when they come out of the hoop house, I don't know whether you noticed, but we're just a week away from sweet corn. And so when they come out, we plant tomatoes and vegetables in the hoop houses.
Right in the litter.
Right in the litter, or move it aside a little bit, go down a little bit deeper, and that way we get double. So we get year-round use of the hoop houses, and these are just simply retired for 100 days in the winter. and that's it.
They get to rest. Do they do a molting cycle? And
the chickens go through a molt. We keep them for 2 years laying, and so the first year, of course, they lay normal. Then they go through a molt, and then the second year they don't lay as well, but all the eggs are jumbos.
Yeah.
So you get those nice big eggs there in the wintertime. But yeah, you can see why this is delightful for them.
Yeah. We have snake problems. You have problems with snakes?
Snakes? We don't have any problems here because we move it all the time.
Ah.
If you have a stationary house, you have snake problems.
And the snakes really wouldn't want to come up into these nest boxes.
No. And the snakes, I mean, they're not going to crawl across the pasture, crawl across. I mean, that's kind of a good night. A great horned owl will pick a snake right up off the ground there. So.
When you lift with the toolbar, does that pick up the ends a little bit?
No. We just hook up with the tractor, the toolbar, it kind of bounces on the ground because you're pulling it with the tractor.
So you have skids or something in the front so it doesn't.
Yeah, they're sled. Yeah,
little sleds.
Yeah, but it pulls real easy. It just you probably couldn't pull it with a 2-wheel drive pickup, but certainly a 4-wheel drive would pull it no problem. Pulls real easy.
Well, Joel, there's like all this farmland all around us. I know, we go back from back to the BABF days before organic was a law, and we were doing biodynamic
before
farming,
the government owned the term.
And we kind of when they came in and passed the law, we said, all right, well, BABF will do this organic certification. But you've been doing this multiple generations and trying to find a different way. And this is so different to see this little movable coop versus a $1 million house.
Yeah.
And all the sanitation issues and the huge movement issues and the litter issues. I mean, the Virginia Tech's working on making electricity and burning it and pyrolysis of litter because litter is a huge problem.
Yes.
You don't have a litter problem.
Well, absolutely. The problem with industrial food is it takes all these wonderful assets and turns them into liability.
Right.
And here the beauty is there's no concrete, no rebar. It's a very light footprint, gentle infrastructure. It's portable on the landscape. The chickens are harvesting their own salad bar. They get their own local GMO-free grain too, but the pasture supplements substantially. There's no litter. There's no bedding to haul in. There's no manure to haul out. They self-fertilize, and there are no pharmacy bills because it's so healthy. It's such a healthy environment, being new ground all the time, that there's no diseases or sicknesses, and so it's so 180 degrees different from the industrial confinement animal feeding operation that. It staggers the mind to realize all the ramifications of just how different it is.
Right.
From an energy standpoint, nutrient cycle, nutrient flow, and nutrient into the egg that you and I eat.
Right. Now, will you rotate this pasture for cattle?
Oh yeah, this pasture we already grazed it. We grazed it twice, and with the cows, and ran egg mobiles behind the cows, and then. We let it go for hay. We mowed it for hay, and now we're running these birds on it. And beginning this week now, we'll bring broilers over and run broilers here as well. So it'll have layers, meat birds, cows, and egg mobiles across it at different times through the season. Each one of those being a synergistic income stream on the pasture. So where the beef cattle farmer is making maybe $300 an acre gross income flow per acre per year, we're making 5,000.
Right.
Well, suddenly the little farm can generate enough income for a son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew, a friend, a young person, so that as I age, there's a replacement coming up through the ranks. The biggest problem in farming is that as the farmer ages, there's not enough income being generated to provide a salary for the next generation coming up, and that's why the average farmer that is now almost 60 years old. And
And the children don't want to do it.
And the children don't want, because
higher
it's
paying jobs.
low pay. Exactly. And so this is a way to stack complementary income streams on a resource base to create enough income for multi-generational business cycle.
Right.
And that's big.
Yeah. A lot of times the commercial operations have terrible cannibalism problems. You know, one bird gets a little bloody and they just all go right after it.
Well, that's why they de-beak them. They cut their beak off.
See, we've all got full beaks.
Yeah, they've all
here.
got full beaks.
And once they got that beak cut off, they're not going to forage well.
These guys have stuff to do. They got work to do. They got busyness to do. You know, they got to go out to the gym and and they got to go out to the salad bar. You know, they got stuff to do. And so that's pretty neat. We sell lots of birds. We probably sell well over 1,000 ready to lay pullets a year to backyard and smaller, you know, people that want 50 or 60, you know, that don't want to raise them from chicks. They want to just buy. And we sell some to farmers market people that want to just, they don't want to raise them through the winter. You know, they're tired. They want to rest in the winter, but they want to have eggs when farmers market starts. So we raise their pullets for them. And then, you know, come April, when farmers market starts, they can get ready to lay pullets, and boom, they're in the season. It goes in, you know, it starts with the carrots and the peas and everything else.
So you have the PolyFace kit that you get a whole eggmobile version too.
Everybody raises them in a different way, but at least this way they get a non-hybrid, fully beaked, unmedicated, pasture ready. In other words, they actually know what grass is. They know
it's impossible to get egg laying pullet
That's
without
right. Being debeaked. That's correct. They don't exist on a commercial scale. So in the whole mid-Atlantic, I mean, people come here from, oh goodness, almost a couple hundred miles in order to get a fully beaked, you know, non-hybrid,
Why don't you take us down and show us their winter home and where you're growing some sweet corn?
Okay.
So is this one of the areas you've just moved the eggmobile from?
Yeah. We just had them here. We moved them every 3 days into a new quarter-acre paddock, and so yeah, here's where they were, and even right here is where they were 3 days before that. So this has had 6 days of, actually 7 days of recovery. Is where they are. Where I think they get moved again today. So every 3 days they just leapfrog right along through the field. We'll go to the hoop house to show where these birds go in the wintertime.
Okay.
That's where they go in the wintertime.
All right, so we've got tomatoes and sweet corn here growing in
A little more. Whoops. Okay.
This is the winter home?
Yeah, this is where the chickens are in the winter, and then in the spring we just move the bedding aside, and you can see here tomatoes that are growing, that are higher than most tomatoes in the area outside, and corn that's sweet corn that's you know, in full tassel here. There's a pepper, but yeah, we come in and just plant right into that. Just scoop the bedding aside, move it, you know, pour some water down, and up and running. And so it gives, you know, multiple duty off of this. Is just our personal, you know, for personal consumption.
Now there's all this huge stuff now about food safety, and they're really coming down hard on raw manure.
Right.
And they're demanding incorporation, and you know, in some ways they would look at this and go, oh, you know, now if this was a commercial house, you probably wouldn't do this. There'd be probably dead birds and other things mixed in that litter. So you know, that's that kind of when you see that poultry litter smell and it stinks so bad, that putridness.
Well, the fact
and that doesn't smell in here.
No. Well, the fact is that the birds are only in here for 100 to 120 days in a year, and then it has whatever 240, 250 days of rest.
Right.
And so if you're going to have a structure, what you want is a multiple use structure. The key to pathogenicity is creating at least two 21-day host-free periods per year, and in a you know, confinement animal feeding operation, a Tyson house or whatever, Smithfield hog factory, or a you know, confinement dairy operation, they never vacate the animals, and so the pathogens always have a host. and always have a host that's nearby. They don't have to put any energy in trying to stay alive. Here, all the chicken pathogens, there's no host. So they're the sun and they are dying, okay, here. And
so this rotation is really, it's breaking the very same genetic cycle that Daniel worked on in the rabbits.
That's right.
So instead of the pathogens having years to develop resistance to your control methods or sanitization and become genetically stronger and more persistent as pathogens or parasites, even, you're breaking that genetic cycle. So on one end of the farm, you're creating a natural genetic cycle to focus those rabbits on that benefit, and here you're intentionally, with a rotation, breaking that genetic cycle for your pathogens and pests.
Because one is for a positive reason. Look, here's the thing, and that point is well taken. The point is, if you were wanting to create more virulent, damaging pathogens, what you would have is a confinement animal feeding operation. That's exactly...
And a slight amount of antibiotics and sanitization to build up their resistance to those
so that the survivors are stronger and more virulent and mutated. Absolutely. I mean, you could not design a more aggressive pathogen promotion farming method than the industrial, crowded confinement animal feeding operation.
You know, we saw an interesting example of that when we were purchasing lots of beneficial insects, because those beneficial insects have to be raised in an intense environment.
Right.
And they have to exclude other things. And we found that those insects that we got, the ones that weren't beneficial, some of the pests were along with them, those pests were resistant to everything. And we were actually introducing some genetically resistant pests along with the beneficials, because they were raised in this intense environment. And it was like, oh, so really it's better to, rather than buying in your solution, to grow your solution.
Grow your solution. Exactly. That's what we're doing here. We're growing our solutions on the farm, not buying in from outside. That's right.
Now, how are we going to do this with farmers? We don't have really an opportunity for multi-generational genetic selection to have local farmers. So is this part of your outreach and your books and your speaking, is to try to move that out to the world?
Absolutely. Our mission statement is to create ecologically, emotionally, and economically enhancive agricultural prototypes and facilitate their duplication throughout the world. And so anything that we can do to promote these models will touch and heal one more acre, one more customer, one more farm.
So you've got this farm working, you've got your son kind of taking it over, so now you can really go on that outreach and help other people see, you know, what to do and how it can work. So you can create that sort of an intellectual expansion of
I mean, I'm spending probably at least a third of my time now educating, you know, speaking and writing and doing an educational, informational outreach, and it's very exciting, very exciting time. We're going to go up and see some turkeys, and then we'll see some meat birds. And then we'll probably see some cows and some pigs.
All right.
So let's go see the other critters.
Now the meat birds actually have a shorter life than the layers.
Yeah, they're 8 weeks. 8 weeks on. I mean, it's as short as a radish.
Yeah.
And so this is a brand new, first day on the job, roost mobile.
Okay.
And,
now this has got wheels instead of the skids.
Yes, that's right. This is rubber tired. Because we wanted a little more mobile than the other. Actually, because we envision actually being able to take this down the road to another farm. You know, if we wanted to have turkeys down there. But you can see the roost boards, and they haven't discovered them yet. But they will soon. They'll soon be jumping up here and getting up here. They'll get acclimated. They'll be up in here just like the chickens. We're all up in this. It's essentially it's like a big drying rack. The epiphany, the design epiphany for me was waking up one night and envisioning a drying rack, you know, a clothes drying rack like you have in your attic or whatever.
Or even tobacco hanging.
Or tobacco hanging. But the idea is structurally, a drying rack, you can get a lot of stuff on it, but it's really light. I mean, the thing only weighs, what, 5 pounds? But it's this, you know, huge. You open it up in a big scissors. And so that's what this is. It's basically a big drying rack scissors on a chassis.
Now, did you mill this lumber?
Yeah, we milled all this on our sawmill. And we even use scraps for the roof. You notice the roof is like a patchwork quilt, but you know, these were a bunch of scraps left from a bunch of other projects. Why buy new stuff? You know, the turkeys really don't care.
Yeah.
And so here again, you know, you just step under and you can feel how cool it is under here. This is really
nice ventilation gap in the roof. And
yeah, I think that'll probably be eventually covered up.
Yeah.
But we had to get these birds in here. We had to, you know, it was one of these right to the last minute I'm sure you don't ever have those right to the last minute projects.
No, we're past the should have been done yesterday projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now it's interesting that these birds are actually finishing in 16 weeks. You're saying
16
8 weeks for but it's like 22 before you get your first egg out of the layers.
20 weeks.
20
the layers
weeks?
will start laying at 20 weeks. Yeah, that's right.
So really, the eggs ought to be gold. You're putting so much more energy into those eggs, and the meat birds are coming out in half the time. That's pretty amazing. Do you think people really realize that you're raising a bird for 20 weeks before you get the first egg?
Oh yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, people don't realize how long you have to wait for that first egg.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
my plan here is to actually build feeders. Build a feeder with a roof here. Go right up the center, and then the chickens can, the turkeys can just stand on the ground and eat right out of it. The other plan is to we're going to take a little trailer, a small, like a 3/4 ton pickup bed type trailer, you know, homemade trailer, and make it into a 2,000-pound feed buggy that'll tow in front of this. Okay. So you have the feed buggy here and this. But like I said, you know, this was a just-in-time project. We needed it for today, and we got it done last evening. One thing I want you to notice, being an engineer, you'll appreciate this. One of the problems we were dealing with was on rubber was stability. And so these are stabilizers. See, that just swings up to move, and then swings down, and just finds its place, and that brings your stability. You know, like the feet on a forklift.
Yeah, they're your hurricane straps.
That's our hurricane straps. Yeah, that's right. So and they just hold up with a bungee cord.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. The birds are. You can tell it's like their first day kind of in a new environment. They're trying to figure it out, but they're still coming to you for the answers.
Right.
Like, Daddy, what's going on here?
Yeah. They're pretty curious. Oh, I guarantee you by, what's today? Today's whatever it is. Within 2 days, they're going to be all up in through here. They're gonna discover it. And now, birds will definitely go up a ladder if you give them enough time. They will just keep going on up higher.
And you see, and if it was a big stretch, you put a beak up on the next rung and lift up.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little tour of the broiler?
Let's go see the meat birds. Yeah. Look at the toms already fluffing out. See how he struts around? Yeah. Yeah, there he goes. See?
Yeah, I see.
I'm a man. See? There you go. 8 weeks, and they're already.
So these aren't sexed. These are
No. These are as hatched.
So there you have it, a multi-generational effort to heal land here in Central Virginia at PolyFace Farm.
Meet the Farmer TV is made possible by Planet Earth Diversified, Melly Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design. Culpeper's Channel 21, helping to preserve the agricultural history of Virginia, and Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture.